Ladies and gentlemen, champions in waiting, warriors of purpose, there comes a moment in every life when the mirror no longer lies. You see who you are and who you could be. That moment is now. Do not wait for opportunity. Do not pray for motivation. The past can become a prison if you allow it to be your comfort zone. Many people fail to grow simply because they keep revisiting who they used to be, clinging to old failures, former identities, and worn-out stories. They excuse their stagnation with phrases like, "That's just the way I am," or "I've always done it this way," never realizing these are chains disguised as explanations. Progress begins the moment you decide that the old version of yourself no longer has the authority to dictate who you become. Growth doesn't start with a new strategy, it starts with a new standard. If you're still negotiating with your past, you're not moving forward. You're trapped in a cycle. You can't build a future while making peace with mediocrity. Stop trying to perfect the old version of yourself. Let it die. Let it go. The future demands a stronger, wiser, more disciplined you, and that version cannot coexist with the one who once settled, hesitated, or gave up. The road to greatness is not paved with comfort. It's paved with sacrifice. And the first thing to sacrifice is the identity that no longer serves you. Committing forward means making a decision so powerful that retreat is no longer an option. It means removing the safety nets, burning the fallback plans, and refusing to have one foot in the past while pretending to chase the future. The only way to force yourself into consistent improvement is to make progress the only acceptable outcome. When there's no plan B, you give everything to plan A. That intensity sharpens you. That pressure reveals who you really are. That focus fuels real transformation. When you remove the escape routes, when you eliminate the justifications, the familiar patterns, and the lazy habits, something powerful happens. Your mind recalibrates. You stop asking, "Can I do this?" and start declaring, "I must." Discipline becomes your daily companion. Resilience becomes your instinct. Your life stops being a loop of recycled days and starts becoming a deliberate march toward your highest potential. You become the architect, not the excuse maker. There's no halfway when it comes to self-mastery. You either evolve or repeat. You either rewrite your story or relive the old one on loop. If you want to live a life of power, of purpose, of progress, you must cut ties with the person you were and show relentless loyalty to the person you're becoming. The past is over. The lessons have been learned. The only thing left to do is rise again and again until the future has no choice but to match your effort. Every second that passes is either sharpening your future or dulling your edge. Time is not neutral. It is always working for or against you, depending on how you use it. Most people treat time as if it's infinite, casually wasting hours, days, even years waiting for the right moment to start, the perfect conditions to act, or the motivation to arrive. But life doesn't wait. Seconds slip away quietly, and with each one lost to hesitation or distraction, a piece of your potential goes with it. The cost isn't just time, it's everything you could have become in that time. To live with urgency doesn't mean rushing through life. It means treating every moment as a sacred opportunity to get better, sharper, wiser. It's a mindset, not a pace. It's waking up with the belief that today could be the day that changes everything, but only if you show up with full presence and intensity. When you move with urgency, procrastination dies, you no longer tolerate delays disguised as tomorrow, and you stop entertaining the fantasy that time will always be on your side. Speaking with purpose means aligning your words with your vision. Idle talk is the language of the average. Purposeful speech is the tone of the focused. The way you speak about yourself, about your goals, about your challenges, programs your mind. Words are not harmless. They are instructions to your subconscious. Every complaint awakens your will. Every excuse erodes your discipline. But every declaration of intent, every affirmation of strength, builds the mental muscle required to move forward with clarity and conviction. Movement with meaning is what separates activity from progress. Many people are busy but not effective. They confuse motion with momentum. But you must train yourself to move deliberately, to act with a clear objective behind every step. If you're not moving in alignment with your higher goals, you're just wearing yourself out in circles. The goal is not just to move, it is to move forward. It is to make sure that every action, every task, every decision brings you 1 inch closer to your best self. There will be moments when slowing down feels easier than pushing forward. You will be tempted to coast, to relax, to drift. That is the moment when you must remember seconds become minutes, minutes become days, and days shape your life. If you waste a second, you don't just lose a moment, you weaken your standard. Excellence demands you value time the way a sculptor values marble, with reverence. Every bit matters, because every bit shapes the masterpiece. So ask yourself in every moment, what am I doing with this second? Is it building me or breaking me? Most people live according to the standards set by the world around them. They wait to be validated, approved, or praised before they push themselves to the next level. But the truth is, external approval is a weak fuel. It burns out quickly and leaves you empty when no one is watching. If you want to rise beyond the ordinary, you must learn to set your own standards so high that even excellence feels like a starting point. You cannot live for claps, likes, or recognition. You must live for the fire within, the unshakable need to become more than you were yesterday. Competing with others is a distraction. It shifts your focus outward, causing you to measure your worth by someone else's timeline, success, or appearance. That's a losing game. True growth happens when your only competitor is the person you were yesterday. Each day becomes a personal challenge to think sharper, work harder, speak with more purpose, and act with more integrity than the day before. When you lock in on that internal competition, you don't need to be the best in the room. You just need to be better than you were the last time you stood there. But to truly grow, you must be ruthless with your weaknesses. Not ashamed of them, not afraid of them, but absolutely unwilling to let them survive in silence. Growth demands confrontation. You must drag your bad habits into the light and dismantle them. You must look your fears in the face and move anyway. You don't get better by avoiding what's broken. You get better by fixing it, by stretching it, by rebuilding yourself piece by piece until there's no trace of the version of you that once settled for less. Loyalty to your vision is everything. When you commit to a future that no one else sees, you will be misunderstood. You will be doubted. You will be tempted to compromise. That's when you must stand firm. Your vision isn't a suggestion, it's a responsibility. It's not enough to dream. You must protect that dream with your discipline, defend it with your decisions, and nurture it with your effort every single day. You can't afford to be loyal to comfort, to opinions, or to fear. You must be loyal to the life you're building, even when it's invisible to everyone else. You were not put here to live at the level of the world's expectations. You were put here to exceed them quietly, powerfully, and relentlessly. Raise your standards so high that the world has no choice but to raise its voice in silence, watching you do what they thought was impossible. Let your consistency be your answer. Let your progress speak in results. And above all, let your vision be your compass, never your applause. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality. Every belief you hold, every thought you entertain is silently shaping the direction of your life. For the remainder of life, most people don't lose because they lack talent or opportunity. They lose because they allow weak thoughts to run unchecked through their minds. For they permit doubt to whisper louder than discipline and fear to outvote ambition. If your mind is not strong, your actions will always fall short. You cannot outperform your mindset for the remainder of your life. That's why the battle is won or lost long before it ever shows up in the physical world. It's decided in your thinking. For the quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. You must begin to treat your mind as sacred ground. You wouldn't allow poison into your body, so why tolerate it in your thoughts? Negative self-talk, limiting beliefs, worry, and hesitation. These are mental toxins. And if you don't remove them, they will destroy your drive from the inside out. Discipline starts in the mind, not the gym, not the job, not the routine. It begins with protecting what gets to live in your head. Every day, you must choose to feed your focus, not your fear. Just like a soldier trains for battle, you must train your mind for adversity. Life will not go easy on you. It will test your resolve, push your limits, and throw you into chaos. But a trained mind doesn't fold under pressure. It sharpens. You must rehearse courage, rehearse belief, rehearse perseverance before you need them. That means reading with purpose, speaking with intention, and surrounding yourself with input that fuels your highest self. Garbage in, garbage out. It's not just about diet, it's about every thought you consume. Fear is not the enemy, it's a signal. It shows you where your edge is, and the edge is where growth lies. But you cannot afford to feed fear with attention, with excuses, with surrender. You must starve it. You must confront it with action so consistently that it learns it has no power over you. At the same time, you must feed discipline. Discipline grows through repetition, through small wins, through choosing what's right over what's easy. The more you feed it, the stronger it becomes, until it becomes who you are. Eventually, your thoughts will become your identity. You will either build a mind that leads you or one that limits you. There is no middle ground. You are either training your thoughts to elevate you, or you're allowing them to bury you under mediocrity. So train your mind like a warrior. Feed it strength. Starve it of weakness. For the remainder of life, make it a place where fear dies and purpose thrives. Because once your mind is mastered, everything else will follow. Pain is not the enemy, it is the truth teller. It reveals the places where you are still soft, where your growth has been neglected, and where your strength has yet to be built. Most people run from pain. They avoid it, numb it, hide from it. But those who rise, those who become more than average, understand that pain is a signal, not a stop sign. It is there to teach you, to wake you, to challenge the weak parts of your character and demand a better version of you. If something hurts, pay attention. That's exactly where your work is. Avoiding pain only guarantees that it will control you. What you don't face will always have power over you. The uncomfortable conversation you won't have, the discipline you won't adopt, the truth you won't admit, each one builds a wall between you and the life you're capable of living. But when you choose to lean into pain, when you confront it directly, something changes inside you, your tolerance grows, your mindset sharpens, and what once broke you begins to build you. There's a strange transformation that happens when you stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. Every hard thing you do willingly strengthens your resilience for the harder things life throws at you. Growth is not found in the easy, the familiar, or the safe. It's hidden inside the reps you don't want to do, the truth you don't want to accept, and the discomfort you keep dodging. That's where your future self lives, not behind ease, but behind effort. Fear and pain are related. What scares you often lives right next to what will elevate you. If it intimidates you, that's a signal that it matters. Instead of shrinking from it, move closer. You don't grow by walking around fear. You grow by walking through it. The more you face what makes you uncomfortable, the more you realize it can't control you. Your courage becomes stronger than your fear. Your action becomes stronger than your hesitation. And you begin to step into the identity of someone who doesn't back down. Every time you conquer discomfort, you collect strength, and that strength becomes your foundation. One day, the things that once paralyzed you will feel small. One day, you'll look back and see that every ounce of pain you leaned into was molding you into something unstoppable. That's the reward for walking through the fire. You emerge refined. Your future self is not found in comfort. It is waiting behind the pain you've been avoiding. Go there. Face it, and take back everything it's been keeping from you. For the remainder of your life, everything in your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. Your job, your relationships, your results, none of them grow unless you do. For the remainder of life, people often chase external success without realizing that the ceiling is not out there, it's within them. Your business won't outperform your mindset. For the remainder of your life, your career won't outrun your self-discipline. Your goals won't manifest if your habits are still weak. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're prepared to handle. So if you want more, you must become more. This is why self-growth is not a luxury or a side task. It's the foundation. For the remainder of your life, reading one book won't change, or listening to one podcast won't make you unstoppable. But a relentless commitment to improvement will. It's what you do daily that defines you. You must train your mind the way athletes train their bodies, with purpose, with consistency, with intensity. The goal isn't perfection, or the goal is progress. because the person who grows a little every day will eventually become someone unrecognizable to the one who stayed still. The true measure of your life is not in titles, possessions, or achievements. It's in the quality of the person you become along the way. Character matters. Integrity matters. How you show up in silence matters. The world may not see your internal battles, but it will feel the strength you carry because of them. Success built on a weak foundation will crumble, but success built on character, clarity, and discipline will endure or remain your life because it's just about achieving. It's about becoming someone who deserves what they're building. As you grow, your standards change. What once satisfied you begins to feel small. What you once tolerated becomes unacceptable. That's a sign of progress. It means your internal identity is expanding, and when your identity expands, your life has no choice but to follow. Opportunities start to align with your new level of thinking. People around you notice the shift. You start attracting situations, challenges, and rewards that match your elevated mindset, not by accident, but by design. But understand this of your life, the journey of self-growth is often invisible. There won't always be applause. There won't always be confirmation. In fact, there will be seasons where everything feels still for the remainder of your life, where progress feels slow and where doubt tries to creep. And that's the test. Can you stay committed to becoming the best version of yourself, even when the world hasn't caught up to your efforts? Because the reward isn't immediate results. The reward is the person you're sculpting in silence. At the end of the day, for the only thing you truly own is who you become. Circumstances can change, jobs can end, money can disappear. But your mindset, your values, for the remainder of life, your resilience, that stays with you forever, that's the real wealth. So invest in yourself like everything depends on it, because it does. You are the greatest asset you'll ever have. Excuses are clever little lies we tell ourselves to stay comfortable. They sound reasonable, even responsible, but at their core, they are nothing more than well-packaged permission slips to stay the same. We say we don't have enough time, but we scroll for hours. We claim we're not ready, but we've been avoiding the work that would prepare us. We say we're too tired, too busy, too overwhelmed, yet we always find time and energy for things that don't challenge us. Excuses dress themselves up as logic, but they are silent thieves of progress. The danger of excuses is not just that they slow you down. It's that they keep you blind. They protect the parts of you that are weak and fragile. They create a false sense of security by shifting blame outward, the schedule, the circumstances, the people around you. But the moment you start pointing fingers, you give away your power. Growth demands ownership. If you're not willing to admit where you're falling short, you'll never take the steps to rise. Excuses make you feel safe in the short term, but they bury your potential over time. To truly grow, you have to develop the courage to call yourself out. Look in the mirror and ask, what am I pretending not to know? What habits am I defending that are actually destroying my momentum? This kind of honesty is brutal. It's uncomfortable, but it is the birthplace of transformation. You cannot overcome what you refuse to acknowledge. And the truth is, your life is not stuck because of your circumstances. It's stuck because of the excuses you've allowed to control your actions. Once you stop justifying your limits, you begin to destroy them. You stop defending your procrastination and start confronting it. You stop waiting for motivation and start relying on discipline. You realize that the line between average and exceptional isn't drawn by talent. It's drawn by the person who stops giving themselves a way out. When you remove excuses, you create room for growth, and in that space you begin to stretch, to build, to evolve, not because it's easy, but because you've chosen to stop negotiating with your lesser self. It's not about being harsh with yourself. It's about being honest. Growth doesn't happen when you feel like it. It happens when you decide that your goals are more important than your comfort. Every excuse you eliminate is a brick removed from the wall between you and your potential. The day you stop saying, I can't, and start asking, how can I, is the day everything changes. The world doesn't owe you progress. You owe it to yourself. And the first payment is this: drop the excuse, pick up the responsibility, and move forward without looking back. There is a lie that has been repeated so often that most people have come to believe it, that you need to feel motivated in order to take action. But motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days you wake up inspired, driven, full of energy. Other days you wake up empty, tired, and uncertain. For the remainder of life, if your life is built on waiting for right feeling, you will live a life of inconsistency, constantly pulled in and out of progress by your emotions. True achievers don't rely on how they feel, they rely on what they've committed to. Discipline is what separates the dreamers from the doors. It's not flashy, it doesn't look exciting, but it is the quiet force behind every great accomplishment. Discipline is doing it anyway, especially when you don't feel like it. For the remainder of your life, showing up on the hard days, the dull days, the uninspired days, anyone can work when they're excited. It's what you do when the fire isn't burning that defines who you really are. Champions are not made in moments of inspiration. They are forged in the consistency of effort. You cannot trust your feelings when you're trying to build something meaningful. Feelings change by the hour. Discipline, on the other hand, is built by decisions repeated daily, regardless of mood. You train your discipline like a muscle, by showing up, by doing the reps, by refusing to negotiate with excuses. The more you follow through on your commitments, the stronger your identity becomes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who executes. That shift in identity is everything. Over time, the need for motivation fades. You stop needing the hype, the pep talks, the external energy. Readiness becomes irrelevant because action has become your default. You don't wait to feel good. You act until the action feels normal. And once it becomes normal, it becomes natural. This is the secret most people missing. Discipline eventually transforms into freedom. It frees you from the roller coaster of moods. It frees you from the trap of delay. It frees you from the prison of inconsistency. When you live with discipline, your actions begin to build momentum. That momentum compounds, creating progress even on the smallest of days. And the more progress you make for the remainder of your life, the more confidence you build. You begin to trust yourself, not because of how you feel, but because of what you've proven. For the remainder of life, this is where true self-respect comes from. Not from intention, but from execution. Every time you follow through, you send a message to yourself that your goals matter more than your emotions. In the end, discipline becomes the foundation of everything lasting. Motivation may light the match, but there is a dangerous comfort in being the best in the room. It feeds the ego. It makes you feel accomplished, dominant, even superior. But that feeling is a trap. When you're constantly surrounded by people who are behind you, you stop reaching forward. You stop learning, you stop growing. Being the strongest in the room might boost your pride, but it weakens your progress. Growth does not happen in rooms where you are applauded for what you've already mastered. It happens where you are forced to confront what you still don't know. When you're around people who are better, sharper, and more skilled, it can feel uncomfortable. Insecurity creeps in, doubt whispers. But that's exactly where transformation begins. Those who are truly committed to becoming great do not seek flattery, they seek friction. They want to be challenged. They want to be corrected. They want to be stretched. Iron sharpens iron, and soft metal stays dull. If everyone around you is impressed by you, you're not growing, you're simply performing in a safe space. Being around stronger people is not about comparison, it's about elevation. Their excellence exposes your weaknesses, yes, but it also reveals your potential. You start to see what's possible. You witness the habits, the focus, the discipline that high performers live by, and you begin to adopt those traits by proximity. You grow simply by being in their orbit, because their standard becomes contagious. You stop aiming for average because average doesn't exist in that environment. You're pulled up simply by staying close. Many avoid these kinds of rooms out of fear. They don't want to feel small. They don't want to be reminded of how far they still have to go. But that discomfort is exactly the signal that you're in the right place. You weren't meant to feel comfortable while you grow. Growth is a pressure chamber. It demands you endure moments of not knowing, of being corrected, of being humbled. But only those who are willing to be uncomfortable are rewarded with the strength that comes after. Staying in easy environments may protect your confidence, but it will cost you your potential. There is a price for choosing comfort over challenge, and that price is progress. The right room will demand more of you. It will expose your laziness. It will call out your excuses. And most importantly, it will raise your standards. When you're around excellence, you stop settling because settling is no longer normal. You're reminded daily of what's possible when someone refuses to stay small. So ask yourself, who are you learning from? Who is calling you higher? If you're always leading and never following, you're capping your growth. Surround yourself with those. Most people live as if time is an endless resource, as if the seconds they waste now won't cost them anything later. But time doesn't forget. Every second you spend distracted, disengaged, or drifting is a second you never get back. What you do in the smallest moments eventually defines your life. You may not feel the impact today, remainder of life, but time is always keeping score. Greatness is not the result of a few big decisions. It's built in the hidden seconds when no one is watching, when it's easier to slack off than stay sharp. If someone watched your life on a screen, watched your daily habits, your thoughts, your reactions, what would they learn? Would they see discipline or delay? Would they see excuses or ownership? Most people want to inspire others, but few live in a way that's worth imitating. You don't need a stage or spotlight to lead. You lead by example. Every time you wake up early when you don't feel like it, every time you push through resistance, every time you speak with integrity, you are showing the world what it means to rise. Your life should be a lesson in resilience. Let people see your setbacks, but more importantly, for the remainder of your life, let them see your comebacks. Let them watch how you handle pressure, how you navigate failure, how you refuse to quit even when quitting is the easier option. For the remainder of life, anyone can appear strong when things are going well. But when life gets hard and you still show up, still push forward, still hold yourself to a standard, that's when your life becomes a blueprint for others to follow. We often underestimate how deeply our actions influence the people around us. A stranger sees you grind in silence and feels permission to chase their dream. A younger sibling watches you stay committed and learns what discipline really looks like. Your children, your friends, your community, they're all observing more than they're listening. What you do matters. How you carry yourself matters. You're writing a story with your life, and whether you like it or not, others are reading it every single day. So don't just aim to live well for yourself. Live well so that others can learn what's possible, for let your life be the evidence that greatness isn't luck. It's built second by second, decision by decision, with intention and purpose. One day, for the remainder of life, someone will look back at the life you built and say, that's how it's done. Give them a reason to say it. So, I challenge you right here, right now, force yourself to be better every second of your life. Not for fame, not for applause, but because deep inside,